In the headlines, a young Catholic might be leaving the priesthood less than 2 years after his ordination. A team of experts step up screening of pregnant women with the Zika virus, and the National Council of Women wants to enlist the help of MP-elect for Soufriere Denise Charles in its fight against domestic violence and child abuse. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. Topping the news, a year and 2 weeks after being ordained a priest, Calvin Auguste is asking for permission to leave his religious calling. When Father Auguste took his final vows to become a Redemptorist priest at the St. Joseph Catholic Church on May 26, 2015, it was 5 days after his 27th birthday. This is what Auguste told the congregation during his ordination ceremony.
Who would ever thought a little coward from St. Joe would be ordained a priest today? But with God, all things are. Amen, amen. You know, I've met a number of people over the past week or so, and they've said to me, you must be very proud. And I can be, I should be, but to be honest, proud is not the feeling that possesses me right now. It is gratitude. Gratitude. I am thankful to God for calling me to this ministry, to this vocation. And like Jeremiah, I was tempted to say, leave me alone, I want to go and pick mango. But when God calls, his children have to answer.
Now, 3 weeks after turning 28, he has asked to be dispensed from the priesthood. A local Catholic priest has confirmed this, stating that Auguste had announced it. However, his reason for doing so is still unclear. His journey to the priesthood started at the age of 17. In health, the authorities say it is their intention to meet with the people of Marigot in light of the relocation of the community's health services. Idona John-Baptiste has more.
A mold infection has forced the majority of services for both the Marigot Hospital and Health Center to be moved to Wesley Health Center temporarily. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Helen Royer, in her response to how the situation has been dealt with, said they have been proactive. She said she could not give a time frame when rehabilitation of the building housing the Marigot Hospital and Health Center would start, but she has assured that as soon as information on that is available, the public will know.
We will start off with the A&E almost immediately, and then the rest will follow. It's very unfortunate, as I said to the staff, that happened just after we have just gotten approval for the refurbishment of Marigot, that we got the issue of the mold. So Marigot has always been a priority for us. We have what we call the Smart Health Facility. That is a project that has been sponsored by the Pan American Health Organization, and you can get that report. We actually removed other health centers and put Marigot as priority facility for this kind of assistance. So Marigot has been held in very high regard at the Ministry of Health.
Royer said health officials have been challenged with relocation of the Marigot Hospital since a termite infestation was discovered there in April 2014.
As soon as we had that termite infestation, that was the reason for closure of the hospital section of the facility. We had an assessment from Public Works almost immediately. And the assessment indicated that we would have to do a full demolition of the building, right? And that would have costed, I think, about $2.9 million. We had 3 engineers conducting assessment on 4 different locations. I think one was a youth center, a school, for retrofitting works so that we could have relocated the hospital.
Royer said after much deliberation, she said it would not have been feasible for government to rebuild Marigot Hospital while planning to build a new hospital at Roseau. With respect to immediate plans, 2 houses have been identified to be retrofitted to relocate Marigot's health services. Idona John-Baptiste, Channel 5 News.
Still in health, primary health care providers have strengthened their hand at monitoring and managing pregnant women with the Zika virus.
The worst-case scenario of a pregnant woman with the mosquito-borne disease is giving birth to a baby with microcephaly. This condition would cause the baby to have an underdeveloped brain. Babies with microcephaly experience seizures, intellectual disability, hearing loss, vision problems, and developmental delay associated with speech, sitting, standing, or walking. The chief medical officer says pregnant women are being screened by a multidisciplinary team of expert consultants at the Princess Margaret Hospital.
We had two of our consultants who just came back, our neonatologist and our gynecology obstetrician from a training put out by the Pan American Organization in Barbados on the 26th and 27th of May. So they're better trained to manage and to monitor any persons that we have with pregnant persons that we have with Zika virus. So we have had, in a nutshell, two pregnant persons who we continue to monitor. We have not seen any complication of anyone with Zika virus. Not in terms of microcephaly, neither in terms of the microcephaly of newborns. In fact, they have not yet delivered. And we have not seen any complication in terms of the Guillain-Barré syndrome.
We move on now to some police news.
Police Chief Daniel Carbon issued a warning Monday saying he was concerned about statements made by callers to radio talk shows to incite people to commit acts of lawlessness and violence. During a late afternoon meeting with the local media, the police chief said the Constitution made provision for peaceful protest action and these must be adhered to, but any acts of lawlessness would not be tolerated.
The Public Order Act, Chapter 1501 of the Laws of Dominica, 1990, provides for preservation of the public order. The police force is mandated by law to uphold the rule of law and order. The police force will take all necessary actions to prevent lawlessness and to protect life and property, and to ensure that members of the public go about their lawful business. The police force will not allow the Commonwealth of Dominica to experience the errors of 1979 and the early 1980s. The police force is mandated to prevent acts of violence and lawlessness, and also to react to acts of violence and lawlessness by investigating whenever these acts happen, and to bring perpetrators to justice irrespective of race, color, creed, or class. The police force will deal with anyone who incites or perpetrates acts of violence and lawlessness. Additionally, the police force has a mandate to protect the state and institutions of the state. Therefore, I am warning that members of the public resolve their grievances in a peaceful, lawful, and quiet way.
No questions were taken from local reporters.
More lead stories. The hierarchy of the Dominica National Council of Women is suggesting that female parliamentarians network and come up with solutions to issues affecting women. While publicly congratulating MP-elect for Soufriere Denise Charles, former president and current executive member of the DNCW, Josephine Dublin Prince, says her organization hopes Charles can pay attention to the several issues it has been advocating against, including domestic violence and child abuse.
The Dominica National Council of Women, which actually is a national women's organization, always embrace the ideology of women taking their rightful place. And their rightful place is really at the level of politics, at the highest level of decision making. So we want quickly to congratulate Ms. Denise Charles for such a brave move. Being a young person and having to actually be part of a political process, accepting all of what was stated during the election, we really want to applaud her.
Dublin Prince says Charles's victory reflects that women can make a difference. She says she is looking forward to Charles making women proud.
There are a number of challenges, there are a number of issues that I would like to see her come through with. And right up front is the issue of a family court that we have been talking about for such. The issue of domestic violence, the issue of child abuse, the issue of women being respected as women politicians, the issue of women being trained and taking their rightful place in the economic landscape of Dominica. I would also like to see a cadre of women politicians meeting as women, because we know that there are issues that are sensitive to women that not necessarily the male politicians will take through. The issues of the state parties that have signed conventions against the discrimination against women that is not being done. And of course, we want to quicken the pace of the legislation against domestic violence.
Coming up, how solid waste plans to deal with a landfill that has reached its capacity. Thank you for staying with us. Efforts are underway to cut back on the amount of waste entering the country's landfill as its facility has reached the end of its lifespan. An official of the Fokole landfill says operations as normal, as the process of developing a new landfill will be costly.
A normal landfill is supposed to last 10 years, and our landfill is approaching that, or has approached that. Right now, it costs a lot more money than it did 10 years ago to build a new landfill. You have to have public consultation, you have to do environmental impact assessments, probably updated equipment, and you have to realize that 10 years ago, if it cost $10 million, 10 years later it will cost maybe 30 million or more, 50 million, who knows. So we are not trying to go that way.
McLaurin says the company is pushing its recycling program to reduce the amount of solid waste entering the compound, thereby extending the usefulness of the landfill.
The whole world is trying to go into recycling. We need to follow that step. The landfill right now, we have it under control in terms of separated areas, for example, for metals, for derelict vehicles, for compostable material, for white goods, and so on. But the biggest challenge is the mixed garbage coming from household and commercial entities. Now, if we can control that by having the public cooperate with us in terms of separating their waste from home, and we do accommodate that. For example, the plastic bottles. If you want, you can bring your plastic bottles to the landfill.
According to McLaurin's, discussions are currently ongoing with various stakeholders to help the landfill export recyclable material. McLaurin's noted that the company plans to roll out a waste-to-energy program as it continues its efforts of reducing the amount of garbage entering the landfill.
Presently, we're doing some research and some planning for bio-waste to biogas or energy. As the public knows, we've been collecting cooking oil, waste cooking oil, and we're also going into trying to collect compost material in the near future to turn into fuel or energy. That is still in the research phase. However, that is the way we want to go to reduce waste coming into the landfill and to divert waste from the landfill.
The country's previous landfill was located in Stock Farm. The current Fokole landfill sits on 17 hectares of land. In less than 5 weeks, a third woman has been reported missing. 40-year-old Anthea George of Grand Fort was reported missing over the weekend. The second woman reported missing was 52-year-old Bernardine Jean-Jacques of Newtown, who was last seen on 7th June. Jean-Jacques of Kalinago descent is believed to be mentally challenged. And in May, 21-year-old Sharian Joseph was reported missing after she was last seen on 15th May on the Casa Bruce Highway. Anthea George of Grand Fort brings the total number of missing women in less than 5 weeks up to 3.
Anthea George, who is believed to be mentally challenged, was reported missing on Friday, the 10th of June, 2016. She was last seen about 10 a.m. on that day. Anthea George is about 5 feet 10 inches tall and light brown in complexion. At the time of her disappearance, she was wearing a black shorts, grey top and a pair of brown slipper.
George, while being the third woman missing, is the fourth person reported missing in the past few weeks. On 3rd June, 77-year-old Marcelin Williams left his residence in Soufriere walking in a southerly direction towards Scott's Head and has not been seen or heard from since. If you have any information on any of the missing individuals, call Crime Stoppers Dominica at 1-800-8477 or the Criminal Investigation Department at 266-5164, 266-5165 and 266-5119. The Minister for Justice has pointed to the role that socialization plays in how children behave in society when they grow up. Mr. Blackmore believes adults have great influence on the behavior of young people, and the way a child is socialized determines the way that child acts. Mr. Blackmore told the closing ceremony of Phase 1 of the Juvenile Justice Reform Project on Friday he would do everything possible to ensure the project is implemented.
There has been tremendous public discourse on a matter that is very important. It has to do with the amendment of the Sexual Offences Act of Dominica. And then one of the intentions is to ensure that our young people, our girls and our boys, are given further protection under the law, and to ensure that persons who are charged with the care of our young boys and girls are held accountable and are obligated, therefore, to report cases of abuse to the authorities.
Magistrate Gloria Augustus was praised for her leading role in promoting juvenile justice reform.
Magistrate Augustus, thank you. The go-getter, the one who says we have to do this. We cannot go back to original meeting and our work plan is still incomplete. Thanks for the numerous emails, and I have to say numerous emails, texts, and phone calls. It was all necessary. Without you, we in Dominica may not have even completed our work plan. Take a bow, you did a great job.
That's news. Ghetto Youth All-Stars win the 2016 Titiwi Beach Football Tournament. That and more in your sports highlights next. Cricket takes the first knock. Marino Blasters captured the 2016 Dominica Cricket Association Fort Young Hotel Intermediate Cricket League when they defeated Penville Gladiators by 56 runs on Saturday. Lawrence Wilshire top scored for Blasters with 31 while Jason Paris added 24. Perry Alcid, Fernix Thomas and Tivari Sango took 2 each for Penville. Set 164 for victory. Gladiators fell short of the target and were bowled out for 108. Jay Marsler scored 26 while Fernix Thomas supported with 24. Corinne Dupini wreaked havoc in Gladiators' batting lineup, taking 5 for 13. In basketball, Fashion Line Falcons kept their perfect record intact when they defeated defending champions Detroit Blazers 68-65 in the 2016 Flow DAB League on Saturday. Falcons have won 10 games so far without any losses. Meantime, in the other games, Elvis Welding Services Hornets bested Fashion Line Falcons in a close finish 62-61. Over at Trafalgar, Ronald Charles and Willie Barbershop All-Stars won over Justina Charles Thunderers 67-56 and Digicel Cloud went down to Tigers 61-62. The action continues at Lindo Park on Tuesday between LA Knights and the Detroit Blazers at 7, followed by Fashion Line Falcons versus Signman X-Men at 9. Moving on to track and field, the world's fastest man, Usain Bolt, could be stripped of one of his world records following a recent doping test. Bolt's 4x100 meter relay teammate Nestor Carter is reported to have tested positive for a banned substance during retesting of 454 samples from the 2008 Beijing Olympics. In an interview with RJR Communications, Bolt said the possibility of losing a gold medal is heartbreaking. He said for years he's been working hard to accumulate gold medals and to become a champion. So it's heartbreaking, but it's one of those things. Meantime, the result of a B sample follow-up test is not yet known. Carter has yet to comment on the case. He ran Jamaica's first leg in the Beijing Olympics, followed by Michael Frater, Asafa Powell, and Bolt as they recorded a then world record time of 37.10 seconds. Still in sports, 21 women have been selected to represent Dominica at the upcoming Windward Islands Women Football Tournament from June 15 to 19. Gerald George has the list of players.
The team will be captained by Romelsia Philip, with Chazelle Philip as vice-captain. The rest of the team reads Christina Sobers, Kadisha Joseph, Kiana Francis, Tabik Lockhart, Kimara Sabroch, Christine Maxime, Kimberly Eli, Tanji Ambo, Tanya Burnett, Tamanfia Joseph, Kassika Samuel, Brittany Stout, Henrika Samuel, Cassandra Augustine, Hannah Samuel, Miriam Elwin, Tiana Thomas, Ali Jatit, and Dolisha Xavier.
Meantime, the tournament begins on Wednesday between Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while on Friday, SNG will take on Martinique. Both games are carded for 7 p.m. at Windsor Park. Closing off the competition on Sunday, Dominica will go head-to-head against Martinique at 6. St. Lucia and Grenada withdrew from the competition for financial reasons. Meantime, Ghetto Youths All-Stars secured the 2016 Titiwi Beach Football Tournament, winning their game 1-0 against Arizona Boys. The highlight of the competition was seeing 12-year-old Chris Bully of All-Stars hold his own against much older opponents on the sand. Arizona Boys placed second in the Ballarama, while La Croix came in third. The competition is organized by Layu Development Committee and sponsored by Sports Division and Pan Am in Layu. Serving you some volleyball highlights, there were wins for Flow Strike Force and DB's Young Vets in the 2016 Flow Volleyball League on the weekend. Flow Strike Force defeated DB's Acers 3-1. Final scores 25-13, 25-25, 25-19, and 25-14. And DB's Young Vets took control of their match against Flow Wolfpack 3-2. The scores 19-25, 25-20, 19-25, 25-20 and 16-14. And on the international cricket scene, after 5 days of play, the third test between England and Sri Lanka ended in a draw. Final scores: England 416 and 233 for 7 declared, Sri Lanka 288 and 78 for 1. That's all the sports for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time. Your weather report is next.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson and I'll be your presenter this evening. A high-pressure system was the dominant feature today across the Eastern Caribbean, resulting in fair to partly cloudy skies. Visible satellite imagery showed just a few low-level clouds across Dominica today. Radar imagery indicated a no shower activity across the island chain. The weather for tonight: fair to partly cloudy, hazy and breezy. Similar conditions are expected tomorrow, with temperatures peaking up to 33 degrees Celsius. Seas tomorrow moderate in open water, with waves peaking up to 7 feet. Looking ahead for the next 3 days, expect fair to partly cloudy skies, hazy and breezy conditions. Across the Caribbean tomorrow, similar conditions, fair to partly cloudy skies with hazy and breezy conditions. On the international cities forecast, thunderstorm activity expected in London, generally fair weather conditions in New York, Miami, Caracas and Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:34 a.m. and sunset at 6:37 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please call our weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. A young Catholic priest might be leaving the priesthood less than 2 years after his ordination. A team of experts step up screening of pregnant women with the Zika virus, and the National Council of Women wants to enlist the help of MP-elect for Soufriere Denise Charles in its fight against domestic violence and child abuse. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Kenny Williams. To our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.